Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Just As Conversation, right here on Usala Radio, with your host, Brian O'Neill and Luis Gonzalez.
Welcome once again to Justice Conversations from the Ivory Tower to the Street. Dr. Brian O'Neill, Luis Suave Gonzalez. In the studio with us today, we have Warren Smith and Dr. August from Villanova University, also from Songs in the Key of Free, one of the programs she started. And we're going to be talking about adjustment to the outside, as Warren has been he's been about a year now outside of incarceration, and he's also in the process of finishing his Villanova degree, which he started while he was incarcerated. In fact, that's how Dr. August first met Warren, was inside in Villanova's program that was in Great Effort Prison, in which people can incarcerated folks can earn degrees through Villanova. They've been doing that for over 25 years, as a matter of fact. Suave, my co-host, also benefited from the Villanova program and is also a graduate of that program.
Yes.
And although it took a while to get to those 97 credits, Warren, you said about 5 years.
Yeah, it took 5 years to get the 97 credits in Villanova.
Yeah, we should point out, because the prison program is not like the program in the outside world, so you can't take 5 courses at a time and that type of thing like normal students can. So you have to wait, and it's number of classes you can take at a time, I'm assuming, is probably maxed out at 2.
No, some of them can take
Well,
3
right
or 4
now-
classes.
Sometimes 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Right now, you probably could take 3, the most.
Those 3.
But let me make a note that when the program first started, it
Right.
took 16 years
Yeah.
to get a degree.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
so
it took quite a long time.
It took me 16 years to get a degree because that's the way it was designed at that time.
Right.
But the grace of God and funders, the program managed to grow, so now people can take 3, 4 classes.
Right.
So 97 credits in 5 years in that space, it's a good time.
Sure. And we should also mention that those folks that started the program on the inside can finish on the outside. And the recidivism rate of those that finish the program is extremely low.
Right.
Almost, I think, if I cannot remember, I don't think anybody's been rearrested that finished the degree program. I think
Not that I know of.
And that's of a 25-year period we're talking about. So that's part of the reason education makes us is a game changer as far as creating resources for people and making a life on the outside a lot more doable.
I mean, a degree from Villanova allows you to get a better job, to get into the jobs, and to land the interviews.
Right.
Because when people see a degree from Villanova, it's almost like your background check becomes secondary. It's not the main focus.
Right.
The other thing about education, which I assume is obvious, but it deepens the connection to oneself, and it allows for horizons in the world, right, that you might not have otherwise. And like, for example, I know Villanova right now, last semester they taught a math class in which the students looked at the Electoral College and all the voting stuff that's going on right now through the lens of mathematics. Right? So it's like it brings the real world powerfully into your world.
Yep.
I think that one of the things, even though I didn't get my degree yet, I think Villanova helped me to see things differently. And I didn't go to Villanova in order to get a better job, even though I do want one. I went to Villanova because everybody in my family had a degree and I didn't.
Nice.
And I wanted it for personal gain. But Villanova has opened my mind up for critical thinking, and my decision making just because I went to college is much better than it was. And people say that knowledge is power, and I really believe that. I don't think that I wasn't looking for a job. It's just that it has changed my life tremendously just by the way I think. It's changed my thinking, the way I think, the way I go about problems. Everything has changed. It even allowed me today to just come sit here. If I wasn't in Villanova, I wouldn't be sitting here today because I wouldn't know August. Suave probably wouldn't be sitting here today because there's a lot of men who came out but they don't have the same credentials, the same way. And it's not just a degree, just his way of speaking is totally different from people who don't have a degree. And I just think that that's so important that for men that's incarcerated to get education in trades, because when we come out here without that, it's very tough to have a wage earning job for a decent living.
A sustaining wage.
Yes.
Can I say something else, Warren, about you and your education that I kind of just know a little bit about because of, doing the classes with you? Is that one thing that you did is you were very resourceful in your education because, I think you can talk about this way better than I can, that there's an entire network of guys inside that mentor each other through these classes. When I say you were resourceful, you were often or frequently going to other students in the classes, outside of class, and asking for their advice or help with your writing or your papers, right?
Yeah. When I first took Villanova, I had Marjorie Jones, and she was a very tough grader. And a lot of guys would drop her class and wouldn't take her class. But instead of dropping the class, I went to a good friend of mine, and I would give him my paper and say, hey, can you look over this paper? And he was a good writer, and he would look over my paper. And we did that for about 2 years, not just with Marjorie's class. I wouldn't turn the paper in without doing it, going to him, and he's a stickler. So he would just look over it and say, no, you got to do this right, you got to do this, you got to do that. Just my writing structure, because I didn't know grammar as I should, like the writing structure of words. So we did that for a few years. Then eventually it got less and less that I had to go to him. I had to go to him less and less. But I believe that you got to have mentors and you got to have people. And it took me years to realize a mentor. Barack Obama had a mentor, and he was the president of the United States. Sure. So a lot of guys think that mentoring is for kids, like, because men mentoring boys. But grown people need mentors. Like,
yes.
Even I work in the barbershop now, and I listen to the guys in there. And I use one of them as a mentor for cutting hair. And far as anything else, if I can find somebody that knows the way or can show me the way, and they're being positive about it, I'll use a mentor anywhere. So, and I just think that learning that through Villanova also.
How many classes did you teach that he was your student in, August, Dr. August?
At least 2, right, Warren?
I think we had 3 classes. I took 3 of your classes, 2 writing classes, and I think an English class.
You're going to kill me for saying this, I know. But I will always remember you for introducing me to the term side piece.
It's probably one of the stories that I wrote.
I was.
And one thing about certain classes is I could just write how I thought, even though I would keep it in context of the thing. Like, you had writing classes, and it wasn't that I had to write about certain things. I could write about my life, and that was so easy for me. Instead of making up a story, like, we would write stories, and I wouldn't really make a story up. I would just write about something that happened to me, and that's how I turned my papers in. Excuse me. And I think that helped me a lot by not trying to come up with something to write about. I just wrote about an incident in my life and turned it in, and that was really helpful in that particular class.
So you guys have continued. You obviously kept in contact after he got released.
No, not really.
He hasn't been out that long.
Right. I went to Villanova. I'm trying to get back into Villanova.
Gotcha.
Villanova had a art thing for the men that was incarcerated.
Okay.
And I went there. I went there to meet the director of the Greatest Foot program, and Dr. August was there. And that's how we reconnected.
Oh, I understand.
We reconnected through Villanova again.
I got you.
But let me ask you this. That's all good. That's all beautiful. I feel your words. I feel it. I went through it. But the reality is you out now. How much of that education you think has helped you in adjusting back into the community and getting where you need to be at? Like obtaining resources to adjust back. How much time you did?
I did 13 years.
So 13 years is a long time. Long time. And so how much of that education did you gain in them classes have helped you survive up here as you navigate your way back into the community?
Well, I haven't used per se the education itself. I used the thinking skills. And I think that the education is more than academic. The education that I got through Villanova helped me make better decisions in my thinking. And that has helped me tremendously because I'm able to, I just start driving. And when I drive, I find that a lot of people are not really driving their cars. They're texting. I don't text and drive because I'm a new driver, but a lot of people are texting and driving. Maybe years ago, I might have been angry but Villanova has helped me realize that, people got their own life, their own agenda. I don't know what's going on with somebody else in their car. And I think that the education in Villanova isn't per se, it is academic education, but again, I wasn't going for academics. I was going for personal gain. And I think that it has helped me tremendously because I still am fighting to go to finish my degree. Right. I still got 8 more classes before I actually get the degree. And I was told that soon when I got out, I could go. So I thought I was going to come out. I came home in September, and I thought I was going to be in the next semester class. And I'm going through a lot of red tape. And I understand that it's a process. And I'm just patient. And I think Villanova helps me with patience. Writing papers is a process. So I think that I use writing papers as a support of patience. So the education in itself, I haven't been able to use. But like you said, I can put on a job application that I have some college. And that opens up doors itself because some jobs are like you need 18 credits, and that alone years ago I couldn't put that on the application. I couldn't put that, but now I can put it on there. Even once I get into the interview, then I'll have to discuss my criminal background. But prior to this, I couldn't even get into the interview. Right. So I'm just thankful that I can get into the interview.
Now, Warren, you have goals after the degree. What you maybe like to, where you like to go with that?
Well, I do have goals after the degree, but again, the degree isn't for it's personal. My goal for my degree is to have a college degree and for my education. I'm a barber by trade. Went to barbering school. I got a manager's license, and maybe a couple of years from now, I'll open up a barber shop. And the things that I've learned in Villanova will help me manage the shop. Mm-hmm. But again, I went to Villanova for personal gain. I didn't really go to get a different job. Right. But if one comes available, I will definitely think about it. If a job comes available that it requires my degree, I'll definitely think about it.
Sure.
I mean, me personally, I agree with you, but I say this, that I went to school for personal, and because I knew that if I was ever given a chance to come back out, a degree will open the door that otherwise would be closed. And I see that every day with guys returning home after 20, 25, 30 years. They don't have no certification or no degrees. I see how they're getting shut out with these temp agency jobs. But I feel you, I respect that. But I do encourage people, incarcerated people, if you get the chance to go to school and get some type of degree, get it, because it will help. It would increase your chance to a better life out here as far as the workplace. And with that, we got to go on a commercial break. You listening to a Justice Conversation on Usala Radio.
Glad you know.
$150 over $90.
$180 over $111.
$160 over $110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps. Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Welcome back to Justice Conversations with Dr. Brian O'Neill, Luis Suave Gonzalez, Dr. August, and also we have Warren Smith. Also on the phone line we'll be getting to Brian Farrow. And I wanted to ask also about, Dr. August, your past experience with Songs in the Key of Free and your art connection to the incarcerated.
Yeah. So I spent about 10 years teaching for Villanova out at SCI Graterford. And then I created a nonprofit called Songs in the Key of Free, which we're making an intervention in mass incarceration through collaborative art practice, which is basically taking music into prisons. So we spent about 3 years at Graterford. It's now closed, that prison. And we had 25 participants, and we worked together to create and make and record an album, all of the songs addressing mass incarceration. And we also created a podcast called Prison Prophets, Stories and Music from the Heart of the Penitentiary, which Warren is about to be one of the co-hosts for. And Brian Farrow, who is with us via the phone line, and another person called Wrench, they're both members of this amazing band called Gangstagrass, which is a blend of hip-hop and bluegrass. Brian is one of the musicians in that band. He plays fiddle and double bass. And those two guys, Brian and Wrench, are the producers of this album, and they're mixing it right now. Many of the songs are out. We could listen to some if we wanted to, but we haven't released it yet. Many of the I shouldn't have said that. Many of the songs are being completed right now. So the idea of the album was we recorded in Graterford, in the chapel, professionally, the songs with the men in the prison. And then the idea was we would get outside collaborators. So all of the songs are collaborations between outside and inside musicians. And that was the key concept of Songs in the Key of Free, that we would sort of go over the wall. There would be this way that we were collaborators together. And also, of course, to destigmatize people who are living in prisons, people who are incarcerated, to show we have voices of men on this album who collectively, I don't even want to imagine how many years in prison they have, but many, many, many hundreds of years. And some of these men, Paul Perry would be one. Suave knows Paul. You probably know Paul too, yes. Warren, right? Mm-hmm. He has been in prison for 42 years. He, I believe, is in his 70s now. He uses a cane. And he is incredibly involved in the prison. He's a mentor to so many men. He has a song on the album called Letter to My Son. And it's a song that's a letter to the son that he's never met and is looking for. And we have a number of other guys who are sentenced to life. And as we know, in Pennsylvania, life is life. They may very well die in prison. And these are voices of men that have not been heard by the world. Also, a number of the men who are singing lead on some of these songs are not singers. These are not professional singers necessarily, but men who took tremendous risks and committed themselves to songs they wrote and performed.
So
right?
Maybe we could hear a piece of a few songs.
That would be a nice idea.
After we talk to
Brian.
Cool. But Brian, you on the line. I just want to ask you a question. How does it feel as a producer to have a piece of work that a lot of people, and not only in Pennsylvania, but across the United States, we'll probably never have. Because as we know, in Pennsylvania, the prisoners are basically shut out from all types of media communication. So to even hear somebody's voice on a song, it's like breaking ground.
Yes.
So what are your intention with this album? Is it hip hop? You know, what is it? What is the genre that you're shooting for?
We're not necessarily. I'm not necessarily, as creative director for this project, shooting for any sort of genre. I'm worried about getting the guys' voices out there. There's a lot of music going around nowadays, and there's a lot of it that doesn't feel like it's coming from a really deep place. But when I hear these guys sing, when I hear them getting their emotions, getting what's going on with them out there, it's real. It feels real to me, and I just want that to be out there.
Yeah, but what's the target audience? You know, what are we trying to do with this album? If we just want people to hear it, are we trying to change policy? Are we trying to bring awareness to an issue? What are we shooting for with this album? What is the goal?
It's bringing awareness. It's definitely bringing awareness, and it's sharing. And I guess if you want to go at it from a marketing standpoint, bringing the awareness to the issues that these guys are facing, and shining a light on the fact that there's an intelligent minds within these prisons that don't need to be in prison forever. Changing the mentality in the public about who prisoners are, because we dehumanize them all the time, and I think this album coming out humanizes them and leads us to a place where we're actually talking about social reform rather than incarceration.
Great. No, and I think that's important, right? Because as an artist, I think that we should use our platform to bring awareness to the criminal justice system. And like I said, I probably know 90%, if not all of them, that was participated in the album. In fact, I was still in when the album was being recorded.
That's right. You were in the auditorium and we would come down there.
So I witnessed the creation of the album, right? And to see it now in the hands of a producer that could do something with it, to me, it shows that we're moving the needle. But at the same time, like, what are we shooting for? You know, because I'm out here and I see how the arts can move people. And I'm talking about music, visual arts. And, you know, I think that with the album, there should be a documentary with the people's family. You know,
Heck yes.
That's not hard to do. We could do that on a phone if we want.
Sure, you got the soundtrack.
Where we could get people, you know, to really highlight. We are lucky enough to have their voices, you know, but we could add to that. You know, we could do a documentary highlighting who is that person that's singing this song. How that person end up where that person end up. And that's how I look at it, because when you mess with media, you got to go all the way out. It just can't be, because music is like, you got a hot song today, tomorrow you done. You know, we're not trying to get that. We trying to make people understand that we dealing with people that's been in the system 30, 40, and in some cases 50 years. You know, people that deserve a chance. And maybe we could get the DOC in Pennsylvania to soften up and allow some of these brothers to do interviews, you know, so people can see who they are. Because when you hire somebody, you kind of dehumanize them. People don't know. I can sit here and tell you, well, I know such a wonderful people. And the answer you always going to get, but we never get to see them. That's your opinion. But when people get to see them and interact with them, they have different opinions of the criminal justice system.
You know what my dream is?
Yep.
And I've tried to do this. I don't know if I'm ever going to get permission. We can synchronously perform a concert with the men in the prison. There is technology to do that. I've met with the dude who can do it, right? We could perform live these songs, because what Songs in the Key of Free does, we have an outside band, and it includes musicians that are just as involved that came out, right? And we go around. We went to City Hall. We went to the Painted Bride here. We go in the area. We play video and audio that we recorded inside. right, of the men's voices, of them telling their stories, and we play snippets of them performing inside, then we perform the song live out here.
I mean, it could be done, right? But I'm going to be a little critical because that's my job. And
Critical of what? Wait, say again.
I'll be a little critical that I know it could be done because we did it when we did the simulcast with community college, where we spoke to the community right from the prison.
Yeah.
So I know it could be done.
Yeah.
But I also know that, and able for that to happen today, we need these celebrity musicians out in the city of Philadelphia to fall behind a project like this.
Heck yes.
Because when they fall behind a project like this, right, or adopt a song that come from that project, then we can tell the DOC, you know what, we got such and such. Because the DOC is nothing but media, I ain't going to say the word, right? But y'all already know. Anything that could bring them publicity, they're going to go for.
That's right.
Right? And these musicians out here should be falling behind a project like this.
Talking to you, Meek Mill.
Because
talking to you, Colin Kaepernick.
Most of them has family. They are still in the system. Most of them been in the system. So they know what it is. You know, but I also know that a lot of people ain't going to fall behind it because there's really no money for them. There's really no money. But at the same time, if you are a marketing genius like Suave Gonzalez is, there is money. Because to have the voices of lifers in Pennsylvania on a musical record
and podcast
is historic. You're not going to see that again. You're not going to see it again. That's probably why they're not letting you in the prisons again. You're not going to see it again. It don't happen but every 10, 20 years, if that.
Preach.
The last time that an album was produced in a prison, it was Power of Attorney, a group that they had, that they had in Gratisford. And the reason that was recorded is because currently one of their residents was behind it, which it was Bill Cosby.
Really?
Yes. When Power of Attorney was recorded, Bill Cosby was supporting that.
Did not know that.
Yes. So that's how that record got done in the prison, which it was a gospel record. You know, so I know that if we could attract some of these celebrities, they're saying they offer social justice, then you should fall behind this project.
John Legend.
Then you should fall behind this project.
Common.
So,
you know what?
And I'm just saying that because I did my research.
I talk to August about this stuff all the time. Like we have a lot of wonderful ideas that we wanna see happen in the real world. But right now we've got a podcast that we're working on, and we've got the album to release, and that's what we've been focused on. We got a lot of great tracks that are on the album that are due to be released, and we're going to release some of them with the podcast. We're building up a lot of media. I always did stuff as a bell curve. Build up a bunch of stuff, it starts to curve up, and then eventually, after things get nice and consistent with the releases, especially in today's media market, then curve all the way up.
Brian, this is Dr. Neal asking, how long is the, how many tracks are we talking about on the record?
I mean, originally, I think it was a 15-track album.
Yes.
Okay.
What it is originally, but I've been advocating staggering out the record, doing EP releases first. That way, we can release some tracks and do some promotion between releases with the podcast, and then have a couple EPs out. Maybe get an album under a label after they see what we're doing. But there's steps to take, and there's ways we can talk and maneuver ourselves in the world that'll be a little bit more advantageous than releasing 15 tracks and losing 15 great tracks on something that, you know, we don't know how these releases are going to be. So we want to make sure we leak out little bits at a time to keep the attention going.
Can I just
well, Brian, you know, I just want you to know that we support y'all, and but we got to go on a commercial break. So as soon as we come back from a commercial break, Dr. August is going to play a few snips of some of the songs.
Excellent.
So we could just give the people a taste. And we want to thank you for taking time and being with us. And just know that Usala at Justice Conversation, anytime you want to come back and talk about this in a more lengthy way, we here for you. We thank you for being today on the show, but we got to go on a commercial break, and you listening to a Justice Conversation on Usala Radio.
Okay, it's been
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education. No one receives a diploma alone. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Because of you, I feel not alone in this world. And you let me know that it only takes one person to make you feel wanted.
And then we have
Welcome back to Justice Conversations. From the Ivory Tower to the Street. Dr. Brian O'Neill with Luis Suave Gonzalez joined the studio with Warren Smith and Dr. August. And we have a sample coming up of the project from Songs in the Key of Free, which is recorded inside Graterford Prison. And these are incarcerated artists. And this is going to be released in sometime near future. Here's a sample for you.
Here we go, $1 Million Block. Let us know what you hear, Facebook. Like it or not, Facebook, let us know.
Hey, it's $1 million block. $1 million block is when that money circulate in one spot. And the feds gon' mark it with a dot. And they say, we gon' lock as many we can lock. And turn this to $1 million block. What's $1 million block? What's $1 million block? Hey, what's $1 million block for $1 million? Federal indictments, confidential informants. They got your phone tapped. Hey, be careful what you say.
Come on, Facebook. Like it or not, we need you.
How much money can you save for you make
This is recorded live inside the state penitentiary at Graterford.
Neighbors like they finally caught him. Moving on the low, they wonder what
If y'all
they
like it,
found him. Wearing all designer
we
and he
seek
pulling
permission
through
to
and
give you a whole
and he
play of
wasn't
the
even
song.
selling drugs. We was trying to warn him.
But we need to hear from y'all,
On
Facebook.
just one city block, America spends $1 million to board us on buses. Lock up citizens and it costs us no justice. It costs $1 million a year and it's just us doing big. Leaving kids we can never raise. $1 million blocks up and down like an elevator. Really want is just some food in our refrigerator. Taxpayers lose $1 million just incarcerated. $1 million block. Hey, what's $1 million block? $1 million block.
Okay, Facebook, y'all heard? That was in a sample from the project coming up. So if y'all like it, let us know. If y'all don't, let us know. But
Can I say who the performers are?
Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
But just know that this song wasn't recorded in no professional studio. This song was recorded behind the walls of Gradford Prison. That's the different people, and it does sound good.
Doesn't
live,
it?
With live band, with live instruments.
That was, it was recorded live. That was Mancino Santiago that you heard doing the MC doing the rap. And there were 4 horn players on there. Rashid Frazier's one of them. Charlie is one of them.
Charlie who?
You know him.
Gilmore?
Yes, Charlie Gilmore, thank you.
Juvenile Lifer is currently out.
Busy Blackwell playing horn on that. And later in the song, we hear a different MC come in, Moose, and he does a different rap.
You know, so these are people that some of them, unfortunately, you know, was taken back by parole.
Right.
I know Rashid was taken back.
Yes.
On a parole violation that something he didn't even do. But that goes to the heart of what we always say, that even though you on parole, you're really not free.
That's right.
Because anybody could come up with anything and you're back in prison.
He was out here 14 months living in a halfway house.
Right.
He's in his 60s. He was working in the middle of the night because that's the job he could get in a factory. He would get off work at 3:30 in the morning. He would have to walk like a mile to the bus in the freezing cold. He got really sick with the flu. He had like a high fever. He never missed a day of work.
And, you know, I don't know the circumstances that took him back to prison, but I do know that he was doing everything he was supposed to do.
That's right.
To be successful out here. But due to some hard-nosed agent that don't like the offense that he was in for 40-something years ago, they gave him a hard time till they finally violated him, took him back. So we with you, Rashid, those but if you, what's his name, Mancino?
Mancino Santiago.
But Mancino Santiago, if you hearing us or anybody know him, tell him to call us. Maybe we want to bring you on the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I think that you should be out here promoting this song. It's a dope song, and it shows the talent that we have behind the correctional system.
Right.
Right. What the title refers to.
I was just going to say,
is
go ahead.
The neighborhoods where you have such high incarceration rates.
$1 million blocks,
that
bro.
$1 million have been spent on incarceration of
Per
individuals of those neighborhoods, rather than spending it on infrastructure and other kinds of
$1
things.
million a year on a single block, and we have these blocks in North Philadelphia and other places in this area. $1 million a year.
Like I always say, Doc,
incarcerate.
I always say this, Doc. We go to jail for fighting over blocks that we don't even own in the city.
Heck yes.
Right?
Sure.
Not knowing that we going from $1 million block to another $1 million block.
Mm-hmm.
Because the correctional system is nothing but a profit machine. They love to suck up talent like Mancino Santiago. They love to keep them voices shut out.
Right.
That's why it's important that we know that this music is coming from behind walls.
Right.
It's important that the people know that we have talent behind the walls.
Yes.
Not only we have singers, rappers, we have writers.
Yes.
We have actors, poets. You know, we had, you name it, we got it behind the prison walls.
Right. $1 Million Block is also the name of the exhibit at Eastern State Penitentiary.
Oh yeah. When was that? Was that
It's been
recent,
there
or-
for a while.
Okay.
It's still there, I believe. It's an installment that explains the investment
They should
incarceration.
have this song as part of their exhibit.
Yeah, well, y'all gotta promote that. Y'all need to promote that to them.
Well, I don't think, the exhibit's been there for quite a long time, so the song came after the exhibit started, but that would be an excellent idea, though.
Yeah,
that Eastern State would
It
be
may
a great
not have.
venue
We
to
wrote
feature
this song in
this album.
2017.
Right. So,
So,
you
I
know,
don't know.
But that would be a great venue to feature the album.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
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 We could
Hear
sell it in
you.
a gift shop.
You know, so.
Good idea.
So listen, man, this is what it's all about, people out there. Bring your talent to the studio. If it's good, we're going to promote it because we believe in giving people a second chance. I was given a second chance. Warren was given a second chance, so why not offer that chance to other people such as Paul Perry and those left behind that can't get out?
Absolutely.
You know.
So, Warren, let me get back to you a little bit.
Yes.
Your story. How did you come to be incarcerated for that many years? 15 years, I think you said. 13.
13
13
years. I came to be incarcerated through, I committed the robbery, and I was arrested, found guilty, and I was sentenced to 10 years in prison. But prior to going to prison this time, this was my second offense, and I had parole. So I got a 10-year sentence, and I got a 3-year parole violation, which gave me 13 years. So I did the 3 years first, turned over, which is like I made parole on the parole violation. Then I started the new sentence, which was 10 years, which is one of the reasons why I got into Villanova and I got into the barbershop, because I knew that no matter how much time you do, that if you come home to the same thing, it's very likely to be back into the same stuff. Because I didn't come to a new neighborhood. I came right back to Philadelphia. And no matter what my mind frame was, I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to do this. Of course, when I came home the first time, I thought I would never go back to prison. But after a few months, I wound up back into the streets, back into doing the same things that I was doing, and wound up back in prison. And what a lot of young guys don't know, the time never gets lighter. It's always more. You might get 3 years, then 6 years, then 10 years. It doesn't get lighter. So I knew that people with a high school diploma were less likely to come to jail. People with some college was even less likely. People with a bachelor's degree was almost non-existent, as far as like once you got your degree, you couldn't. It was most likely that you wouldn't be recidivism.
Right. Exactly.
So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to come back, because I didn't enjoy prison. I didn't like going to prison,
right.
And I know people say that you can't blame your circumstance or your environment. And when people say that, I don't believe that. I believe that if you grow up in a neighborhood where this is the norm, because the norms in some neighborhood is not the norms in other neighborhoods.
Right.
So what you see as the norm, it's easy, especially for young people, to get caught up into the norm. And I think that it's so hard. Without education, it's hard to get out of it. It's a trap. I believe it's like a trap.
Well, there are certainly zip codes, like the $1 Million Block song. There are zip codes that are overrepresented in the prison system.
Absolutely.
And you probably know that just walking around the prison, because you see familiar faces. It's like the neighborhood's been transported behind the walls.
Right. Well, a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize that in the prison system is Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. These are in Pennsylvania. I don't know about other states, but in Pennsylvania, these are the people that you see in prison. And not only is it in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, it's even broken down to neighborhoods. Like you have more people from North Philly than you would from West Oak Lane or Mount Airy. It depending, and you're right, it is the zip code. So, and I'm not blaming the neighborhoods on what I did. I did it because that's the decision I made. But I do believe that I've made poor decisions, which is one of the reasons I think that Villanova has changed my life, because I'm able to make much clearer choices and decisions. My thinking skills are a lot better than what they were.
Sure.
And by saying that it's dependent on zip code, we're fundamentally saying that the underpinnings of prison are racist underpinnings, right? Because we're saying, zip codes where people of color live.
And social class is a big factor as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're talking about bad decisions, we're also talking about opportunity structure being different. When you have fewer opportunities, you're much more susceptible to making bad decisions.
Right.
When you're surrounded by good opportunities, for example, Father Greg Boyle was a host, came here to our show, worked with gangs in East L.A.
He's amazing.
When he talks about the fact that hopeless kids join gangs. Hopeful kids don't join gangs. People that feel hopeless get involved with these things. And if you don't have opportunities, you move into a state of hopelessness. And that sort of promotes or provokes those kinds of decisions. And if you leave that with other things like a lack of role modeling, and it just sort of collapses on itself. And people that are lucky enough to find mentors can escape out of these places and do okay, but that's kind of like the difference maker.
You could also say, too, that lack of hope, it could very well be what's driving the white supremacist domestic terrorists now, right? Because of the current administration, we have all these people in this country who feel hopeless. And there happen to be a lot of white people who feel hopeless and feel like they don't have opportunities. And therefore, they are driven into white supremacy and into doing terrorist acts against their neighbors and other citizens.
Sure. And part of that's scapegoating, too,
Yes.
blaming other people for bad things that have happened to them.
Yes.
You know what? I say this. I'm very appreciative of Villanova. I really am, because they gave me the opportunity to get my degree. But sometimes I always used to wonder, what about, is it possible that I could give up my scholarship to somebody out here, a young kid out here, that probably have the lack of resources to even go to college, to even think of college?
Yeah.
So they could have an opportunity. Because I saw it, the way I saw it was I was already in prison. I live a different lifestyle. So to me, somebody younger than me probably could have a better chance and do more in life
Right.
with that degree than I can.
So you'd like to
right?
see something that's preventative.
So
Right.
as much as I love Villanova, I still
Right.
say, like, why not give the children of incarcerated parents
Yes.
a chance? If they meet the qualification, of course, we're not going to open the doors to just anybody. But people that qualify, the children that qualify of incarcerated parents, give them a chance to have a complete ride, where they don't
Excellent
have to
idea.
worry about
Yes.
student zone or where I'm gonna get the next money for the books. To go to Villanova and at least get a bachelor's, which take you a long way. Believe it or not, a bachelor's degree from Villanova is like a PhD from community college. It takes you a long way. And I say it every time I'm on the show. I came home, and because of the degree from Villanova, I was able to work at different places, such as the 25th District. And it may not sound like nothing, but think about it. Juvenile life of working at the 25th District as a case manager.
Right.
That was only because of the degree.
Sure.
Right? So I'm saying to all these universities out here in the tri-state area, create a pilot for children of incarcerated parents.
Yes.
Because they are our future. They are our future legislators, our future judges, our future cops, mailmans. But give them the opportunity. Like I said, I support prison education. I really support it. I support prison education. But at the same time, I believe that the children out here need that same opportunity.
Well, people complain about the cost, but the fact is people don't complain enough about the cost of incarceration. And we
Yes.
know that one of the risk factors for future incarceration is having a parent incarcerated.
Exactly.
So
Right.
it's a preventative, proactive approach, and it's cost effective, because if that route was available, there'd be less people that would end up in a failure loop.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
So you have to think the big picture, not the...
But again, like I
small
said,
picture.
I send a big shout out to the whole faculty members at Villanova. That a lot of them professors donated their time for us to get. A lot of them wasn't getting paid, So a shout out to all of them: Dr. Betts, Dr. McKenna, Dr. Jim Wessel, Dr. Hill, Dr. Jill McCorkle,
August.
Dr. August Turner, like everybody that came, because if it wasn't for Villanova, I would have never met you.
Right, and I got hired as an adjunct. I was working at Westchester University
Oh, really?
at the time.
I didn't know that. You were an adjunct at Nova?
Yeah.
For that prison class. Yeah, so
I
one
didn't
other
know
class
that.
I think I was hired for,
So
too.
so to them, they get big shots out. But I just think that other universities got to step up and do better.
Yes.
Because if we give these children out here the opportunity to go to college, you will see better results. LeBron James is doing it in Ohio.
Oh, yeah, he's funding?
He just announced
Yes, he
I didn't see
college
it.
tuition for
Yeah.
his entire school.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But those are children that don't have to worry about, I got to go sell drugs to buy books. I got to do this. All you got to do is focus on school now.
Yeah.
And I think more universities in Philadelphia should jump on board because a lot of these brothers in the state prisons are from Philadelphia. Their children are from Philadelphia.
Yep.
If we talk about changing the system, then let's change it completely and give these children and different zip code neighborhoods opportunities to go to school for free.
Yes. And if people are interested in finding out more about what we're talking about right now, there is a documentary on PBS that you can access
I know
for
what you're
free,
talking about.
College in Prison.
College in
And
Prison.
it's
Excellent
Bard
documentary.
College has these prison classes all over the state of New York. And maybe a little bit into Jersey, I'm not sure. And they've been teaching those classes for years. I actually taught for Bard College for a while myself, and it's a great books program, right? And when you hear Warren talking today, you can really see that he has kind of a great books mind as well. He understands that the humanities, which we're talking about, are not just about getting a job. The humanities are about, you know, changing a person in the way that Warren has testified here today, and about connecting oneself to the what we like to think of as the pillars of our society, right? Like bringing the person into the history of what it means to be an American and to be American citizen, bringing us into the idea of what it means to be human. Right? Studying philosophy, studying great literature. That's what it means by great books, right? So it's like that is an endowment that all Americans have that is uniquely and specifically American. And there are so many people, the way Suave is talking, that are in neighborhoods or on particular blocks or whatever, that don't get to participate in that endowment, that don't get to feel like they have an ownership of that, that's part of their birthright. And it freaking is part of their birthright. And so that's why college and prison is so powerfully important, because it's like saying, you know, here is your Americanness. Here is what you are owed to, you know, even in a way, just by being an American citizen, that so that you can step up and feel like you do matter in this country. And that, you know, that's back to what Brian, you and I were just talking about before, the sense that so many people in this country right now feel like they don't have a stake in anything, right? Education can change that.
Yeah, the College in Prison is streaming on PBS. I think it's 4 parts.
Yes.
And they also they'll follow several guys that even graduated and are out now. So you see if how the experience made a difference, so their educational experience made a difference. And they also talk so much about how just being in the class gave them a focus where they weren't even in prison while they're like reading in books, and they're so immersed in preparing for class, they are mentally removed from where they're at, and they get immersed in it to that extent.
I remember sitting in class, and for them 2-3 hours, it was like you out the prison,
right,
for 2-3 hours.
You're free,
you know. And I also want to mention that I know Georgetown University has a hell of a college prison program, and I believe it's Harvard. They allow people in prison to take classes from them via correspondence. You know, and this is what I mean. Like, people are recognizing, man, that you get these brothers a chance.
We have the technology now that we wouldn't be limited to. If they made it happen, you could do internet access. You wouldn't need a professor coming every week.
But at
you
the
can
same
easily
time,
do it a distance model.
At the same time, let's not forget that when a parent's in prison, it's even 10 times harder for that child to think about going to college.
Right.
For the simple fact, where I'm gonna get the money from. You know, by the time my parent come out, I'll be this age. I'm gonna miss out on college. You know, so we also got to keep that in mind, that the same way we give brothers in prison a chance, let's give some of these children out here a chance to go to college.
Yeah, the Bard program was good because there was a women's prison that benefited.
Yes.
And we don't have that in Pennsylvania.
Bedford Hills.
Yeah, Bedford Hills. And we don't have any access to higher education for women in our state.
Yes, which makes no sense.
And let me be clear. And let me be clear to the listeners. It's not every state prison in Pennsylvania has the opportunity to go to college. It's only like one or two institutions.
That's correct.
That would allow a college to come in there.
That's right.
And we was lucky enough to be at Gratisford Prison, where we had Villanova come in.
That's right.
And now,
but have we would have been in Chester or Dallas or Greene County, we would have the story would have been different.
Well, the thing about Greatest for, even though they're allowing Villanova to come in, I was just at Villanova talking to the director of the Greatest for program, and the new warden has now said that she wasn't allowed to bring paper in. So how are the students
that. I'm dealing with that right now.
I had that happen to me too.
And they're not allowed to bring paper or books. They can't bring books in. They've been stopping them from bringing books in, and now they can't bring paper in. So how can the students do any work without books or paper?
Well, I know how to do that, but I'm not going to give up the program that myself and Dr. O'Neill here have going on, that we have going. We've been having it for a few years now. So if you're interested in knowing how, contact us, and we'll be willing to serve as consultants and help you get them college courses in the prison faster. We created a program that we doing it, where we have 15 people in the inside and 15 students exchanging ideas and reading each other's paper and work.
Yeah,
yes. I'm not going to reveal that.
It's not for credit, though.
It don't even matter. It's just the idea that we have 15 people from the inside and out communicating on a college level.
I think that's brilliant, but
So-
I also think it's so important to have the person on ground. I know that the students that were at Graterford over and over these 10 years would say to me that it was so vital to them that there was an actual professor that would come out and spend time, and the community that's created in the classroom together. Like you were saying, you're not even in prison during those 2.5 hours,
But times
right?
have changed. We're working with people now that don't believe that prisoners should have education. So
No,
we
I get that.
So we had to be innovative and start creating different ways to get around that. And with that, I want to say to everybody on Facebook that's been tuning in, we thank you from the bottom of our heart for tuning in every week and supporting us. These are issues that you're probably not going to get anywhere else but here. I also want to shout out Westchester University for being our chief sponsors of this show. Again, Westchester, without you, we probably couldn't do this show. To the faculty members at Villanova, we love y'all. Keep doing what y'all doing. Warren, thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
Doc, like always, we appreciate you coming on the show and giving the audience a taste of $1 million block.
Thank you.
Because $1 million block is not just a block you live in. It's not just a gentrified block. It could also be a prison block.
Sure.
When you look down a prison block, you see millions of dollars.
No question.
So that could be considered $1 million block. And with that, I send you $1 million hug, love, and respect. We got to sign out. Like I say every week, if you hear it here first, then you know it's official. You're listening to a Justice Conversation on Usala Media Radio, and our producer is Dylan, and our music is by Moby.
Sorry about
Thanks
that.
again for tuning in.
Thank you.